Oof! It is heavy. The 1/8 scale Mustang is finished. Stay tuned to find out how I weathered it and got the project done. There we go. Hello everyone and welcome once again to Scale War Machines and this behemoth of a project, the 1/8 scale Agora Models Super Snake Mustang that I have customized and personalized in my own way. If you followed parts 1 and 2, you'll have seen that I progressed quite a lot with the upper body shell. I weathered and damaged it. In this part, you'll see how I customized the wheels and changed the original Super Snake wheels for some beefier references. And you'll see how I finished all the external weathering and particularly all the elements that I feel will make it into a barn find or rusty wreck worthy of the name. I would say it's pretty much 95% there. The company Agora Models asked me to complete it in time for the IPMS Nationals. And when you watch this, it will either be around the time of the IPMS Nationals, just before or just after. I'm not quite sure when this will go out. But I finished this to a level that I'm happy that it can be displayed on their stand. And if you're at that event, hopefully you'll see it. There are a few little things I want to do, but I'm calling this project done in terms of the video. In this episode, you'll see me do all the final weathering, adding all the vegetation, moss, and other natural elements of weathering, and completing the engine bay, the underside and chassis, and affixing the doors and putting it all back together. I'll move into voiceover now to explain all the steps that I took to finish this huge project. I started with painting the front, which I detached from the model, and I used these Liang model airbrush stencils. They were sent for review and I've done a whole video on them. I began by spraying through AK Interactive's grey primer, but I moved swiftly on to Lifecolor's Leaking and Stain set. I used their reference UA751 dark mould, and then moved fairly quickly onto the green tone UA750, their vegetable origin damp yellow. I sprayed that on the front wings to get the vegetation and green effects. What I was after, of course, is a barn find or somewhere in between, something that's been left in a barn, having been previously left outdoors. As you can see, I drilled the chassis and bolted on this simple structure, which was 2 pieces of plywood that was designed to support the model. It's so heavy, I had a couple of axles break, so I needed something that would add a bit of rigidity. I could then get on with spraying the chassis, which I did with a custom mix of Tamiya paints, XF52, XF72 and XF79. This allowed me to begin the whole weathering process, and I also sprayed the engine. This was all about getting an initial coat of dust and grime. The wheels, on the other hand, were an interesting part of the build. I had a chance to upgrade them with these bigger, chunkier wheels as an aftermarket option. I immediately went for these and sprayed them again in the same brown mix. Various other components also got a coat of the same colour. The first stage was to apply washes, and I used Vallejo's Model Wash, a water-based product. And after that had dried, I also moved on to an enamel equivalent, in this case MIG Productions Dark Wash. This, as you should know, is to create shadow detail, and I applied it liberally and let it dry. I also applied it to the chassis, as you can see here. That was done not as a full wash, but just in different places to represent oil stains and dirt. The tyres looked too new, so I used one of MIG Productions' filters, their subtle dirt reference, and that was applied liberally. As you'll see, when it dries, it gives a really realistic dust coating. I used other references as well from their range, including their rust and more of their dark wash products. Again, this is all applied very liberally and it will be allowed to dry. The key thing for me was to get variety. A weathered vehicle has lots of different shades of weathering on it. I also dipped into, of course, their rust colours for the chassis. That was again applied liberally all over the underside and all over parts of the engine that would be subject to corrosion. This was mainly all the fan gear, alternator and so on at the front of the engine. You can see that subtle dirt, and it's often a case of building up multiple layers. But when it dries like that, and that leaves a very realistic, in my opinion, weathered rubber. Of course, dust would gather on other parts too, like the engine, brake drums, and of course all of those parts need a good liberal coating as well. I love the fact that the new tyres had the Goodyear emblem and logo and writing on it. I wanted to pick those out in white. I used a paint pen and just very carefully worked various tyres. I didn't do all of the lettering on every tyre, but worked the letters and painted and picked out those words. Any cleanup is of course very simple, using thinners. I really liked the effect and the added colour pop from the white. To give them an even dustier and more realistic appearance, I used a pumice wash. Pumice is a very fine powder you can buy from eBay and various places in different grits. This was mixed with enamel weathering products, Rain Marks Effects from Ammo by MIG and Earth from Ammo by MIG. What you do is mix the enamel-based paint weathering effects with the dusty pumice. You apply it liberally all over the tyres in the areas where there's a tread pattern. What will happen is that the paint will evaporate, leaving a dusty residue. This of course can be applied all over other areas of the model, and I did this over the chassis and the wheel wells, where there'd be a lot of dust and grime. You can very easily rub off the mix from the higher areas using something like a cloth soaked in thinners, and that leaves the dust in the areas where you want it. You can apply this strategy also to rusty areas and mix with rust colours. Here you can see what it looks like. It's quite a convincing dusty residue, and on rusty parts where you've used a rust mix, it replicates corrosion and oxidisation pretty well. On to the next stage. This was stippling, and here I used another MIG Productions reference, their oil and grease mixture. This was sprayed through my airbrush at very low pressure. Those who follow this channel will know that I use this technique a lot. What you do is you turn down the air pressure on your airbrush really low, and that creates spots or speckles. This in turn represents oil stains or little droplets of oil really well. For the tyres, to show a bit of wear on the upper areas, I used pigments applied dry, specifically black pigments, and just rubbed that on the top areas. This accentuated all the dust in the lower areas and made it look like the tyres had had some contact with the ground. In these shots you can see the overall effect, and I did a quick test fit. Continuing on, I focused on the lower chassis, and here again I gave it more of the brown paint just to unify everything. I primed certain components with an automotive primer in red oxide colour, and then moved to the rust shades from the Lifecolor liquid pigments range. These again were stippled all over various components, particularly things like chrome bumpers and areas that might be affected by little spots of rust and oxidisation. In order to recreate the underseal or protective coating, I mixed up my own concoction using some of the pumice and a product acrylic resin from MIG Productions. In between, I attached the exhausts to the engine block and also made sure that the interior was suitably dusty and worn. This was quite easy. I left the model in my workshop and it got covered in all sorts of dust and cobwebs and all sorts of mess. I simply sealed it in place with repeated coats of matte varnish. This allowed me to concentrate on the assembly stage, and one of the first things I fitted was the engine, which had been suitably weathered. I was quite pleased to see it beginning to take shape. I did another quick test fit to see how it all went together. Now I could weather that underseal that I created using the acrylic mixture, and that was just a case of painting it black and adding more of the dust mix. Now I could start reworking the whole of the car. I'd assembled it by this stage, as you can see. Even though it was a bit of a test fitting, I could begin with the painting. Over the top of the Lifecolor greens, I used a product by Ammo by MIG, and it was their dark streaking grime. This again was sprayed using the stippling method, and just as ordinary coats or streaks as well. I tried to get lots of grime and green vegetation residue all over the car. As this is an enamel product, I knew that I could blend it all later. This was a really fun part, and I could just let my imagination run riot. I really love this side of modelling, it's my favourite bit. My idea is for the car to have been situated possibly under a tree and then pushed under cover. I did in fact have a dream of creating a diorama with this splendid model. It's just so big it would look awesome. However, I haven't quite got the time to do that at the moment, but this did allow me to create the effects I wanted to in my mind. If there's any problem at all, you can simply undo them using thinners. So I just went a bit crazy all over the whole car adding loads of dirt and grime. It's one of my favourite go-to paint weathering products. Okay, time for a bit of a sit rep on the Mustang. I've had to do a lot of work off camera, mainly because I really need to rattle through this and get it done. But these big models are really hard to work on, I have to say, because they take up so much real estate. I've cleaned all my airbrushes, I've got everything ready, because really I'm in the final stage now. Let me just run through what I did to get to this stage. I used the Lifecolors to add all the sort of green around the hood or the front of the Mustang. I added from their Lichen and Algae sets various bits of vegetation and growth, which was good fun. That's a great range of sets to add Lichen, moss and vegetation. Then I used Ammo by Mig's dark streaking grime and I sprayed that by airbrush, and then I brushed through it with a flat brush laden with thinners. That's got me to this stage. In order to protect the paint, I've been sealing it with 2 varnishes. I've been trying one I know well, matte varnish by Vallejo, and ultra matte lucky varnish by Ammo by Mig. After I'd sprayed all the effects and was happy with them, I sealed them as best as I could with coats of these varnishes. That allowed me to take the doors off and then fit them properly with the door cards. I also weathered the inside of the doors. One I did at a very early stage, and I used liquid pigments, particularly their black grey liquid pigment, and that just ages all the leather and door card material. One side's a bit more weathered than the other, but I don't think that matters. You know, when a car is stalled or abandoned, weathering is very varied. It doesn't follow any kind of uniform logic. So the doors are on, and there again I sealed the doors with matte varnish. But yeah, I'm fairly pleased. I need to weather the window frames and work on that. I also need to touch up various areas. So my plan is to hammer through this and try and get the upper body shell assembled and put on top of the chassis and be a step closer to completion. I did fit the bonnet and the hinges were a bit of a weak point, and as you can see they're all very clean, so I'm going to spray the underside of this as well to make it look more weathered. Okay, off we go. Going back to my custom brown mix. This was sprayed all over any area I felt was simply too clean and needed to look rusty and aged. Because I still had plenty of the moss and lichen to add, I wanted to make sure I shot a sequence showing that process, and here you can see it. So I'm using the special sets from Lifecolor. They are combo sets, and specifically I used Lichen and Moss SPG06 and Algae SPG07. As you can imagine, you use the fixer to apply a layer of glue, and then you sprinkle the powders, which are all different combinations of sizes of particles. You drop the powder where you've applied the glue. I was really pleased with this product and I think it looked really good. It was perfect for the vegetation residues I wanted on this particular model. I liked the different colour combinations and choices, and I often made my own custom mix. Although it can seem stark in terms of colours, you can overspray with your dark streaking grime and it looked really realistic. The construction is now progressing apace and I can feel the end is in sight. At this stage I do all sorts of paint effects over the top of the completed body shell. This included more of the dark streaking grime, little areas of touching up, chips and so on that were applied by brush. I could also do more speckling or stippling if I so wished. Now it was getting very near to affixing the actual body shell to the chassis permanently. There was one thing that always bugged me, and that was the fire extinguisher, which lacked detail and interest. So I used some Archer Fine Transfer placards or information plaques. Those are simply dry transfers, and I applied them to their wet transfer medium and used them as decals. When I was satisfied that the fire extinguisher looked interesting enough, it was time to mate the upper body shell with the chassis. This is a very heavy model, so you have to go pretty gingerly. With something on the desk to protect the paint, I managed to locate all the screw holes and finally attach the two halves together. This for me means the model is done, at least for the purposes of this video and for the purposes of Agora Models who need to display it. What are my thoughts on this? Well, it is a huge and impressive model. I'm really pleased to have had the opportunity to weather it in my own style and do something different. Certain things I'm really pleased with. I'm quite pleased with the 3D effects on the model, particularly the rust and the vegetation. That's a new technique for me and something I haven't used that often, so that was quite successful. I like the overall weathering effect. I feel that my ambitions of having an utter wreck of a car have been completed. It looks good and feels good to handle. It's so heavy. It's a real conversation piece, and I'm looking forward to displaying this here at Scale War Machines. It's going to feature somewhere in the background. You can also see it for yourself, of course, at Telford this year for the 60th anniversary. I'm going to leave you with some images of the completed model. Don't forget you can follow the whole build. There's 3 parts in this series, and I thank you for watching. I'll see you soon on the channel, and bye.
Subscribe for our latest videos.